Let's go!
Big sad time. Let's get sad. Let's get incredibly sad together. Let's join hands in sadness. In the wake of all this new news, a Nintendo Switch, new Mortal Kombat character, everything, there was an article and a note coming out about a couple of recently canceled PlayStation games. Let's get big sad together. Breaking news from some, relatively notable people that wouldn't just be lying about this. PlayStation canceling more live service games from the Jim Ryan era from some of their subsidiaries, Bend Studios and Bluepoint. Bloomberg has learned. Fans have wondered for years what Bluepoint has been up to for the last few years. And we can report they were working on a live service God of War game. This is the, thank God we don't have to deal with this era anymore. Thank God, dude. Imagine the people that produced the Shadow of the Colossus remake and Demon Souls relegated to making an online gas of God of War. What this does confirm is that there is at least people going into modern day Sony realizing that, okay, this doesn't work. This is not working, and we should probably stop investing into these as quickly as possible. No Bloodborne remake then, unless Bluepoint was substantially a big enough studio to handle multiple projects. And here's the thing, Bluepoint's helped out on a lot of games. They helped out on like God of War collections in the past and stuff like that. I can't remember which one, but they have worked on God of War games before. But that is such a mismanagement of utilization. What the hell, dude? They have both collections. They did both collections. So they have like a lot of experience with God of War. Either way, we were just talking about the potential of Bloodborne. Shuhei Yoshida was mentioning the fact that, it seemed like Sony was kind of like aware that people really love Bloodborne, kind of aware that there is a fervent desire, arguably like one of the most requested things of PlayStation to work on something has been Bloodborne. And it's good to hear that from Shuhei Yoshida, Mr. PlayStation himself, even though over the past 5 to 6 years was not a first party sort of entity, mostly working in the indie space, but even he knew people love Bloodborne. So he even said the fact that we hadn't done anything with it, speaking like, in a first party sense, like, yeah, we hadn't, Sony Collective, done anything with it, was pretty surprising. He's like, you think we would have done that, right? He even said that, where it's like, yeah, you think? And we were even assuming that, hey, Bluepoint, maybe they're doing something. Maybe they're out there making something happen. If that's the case, man, unless something was really hidden, I feel so bad for Bluepoint because they're so talented, dude. They're like arguably one of the most talented developers out there. Having to do something like this really sucks. And also Bend Studios for that same matter. For anybody that's curious why that is, Jim Ryan, who was the previous CEO, I think had a quote, and his entire mission objective over the PlayStation 5 era and the end of the PS4 was to elevate production of giant games as a service games because they were so big, to kind of like dominate the space and to create huge games as a service games. We, obviously didn't go great with Concord. And he said by 2025, there would be like 5 big games as a service games. And he had this quote back in like 2022, that kind of shit. It's nuts to think how many billions of dollars Sony has invested into all of this to effectively make a giant 180 and go back on it all and be like, so it's no shit cheaper for us just to not continue it. It's actually more cost efficient for us just to back out completely than to invest and market any of these existing products. Holy shit, man. And this goes alongside some news and information that popped up earlier this week, talking about how the price of games has actually not gone up that much. Games themselves being expensive to make, like, yes, they're expensive to make, and they are one of the more expensive things to make out there. But to be real, the cost of development usually isn't the thing that is ballooning the budgets of some of these projects. It's actually mismanagement. Like, no shit. And that is coming from the resource of so many different folks on the inside that you hear over and over again. It isn't just the fact that these things are expensive because people are expensive to hire. It's that they're spending so much money into directions and into like ideas of things and require a lot of execution that are just wastes of money. And that is literally mismanagement, where it's just fucking keep your eye on the ball, dude. Like, can we please just try it? Ubisoft is kind of going through it. Obviously right now, Microsoft has been going through it for the past like 10 fucking years. So this is another notch on the, yeah, this is just bad management, right? Once again, an absolute ridiculous allocation of resources and talent and just not letting people do what they do. And it's probably the entire reason why huge executives like Shuhei Yoshida got out of first party. I'm not surprised. And he wanted to work with indies because what do indies do? They're actually devs. They're people with ideas that want to get their ideas on PlayStation hardware. And Shuhei's like, yeah, I want to work with you guys because you're actually involved in allowing people's creativity to come to the front to avoid all of the horrible goddamn mismanagement allocation, all the problems that happen, the shareholder bullshit. It was weird to hear that, like, why is he like stepping down and doing a small thing? Because he probably wanted to get away from it all, dude. Shuhei's like effectively the Iwata of the PlayStation brand. Just been around forever, doing this shit forever, directly involved in games, you know? And just wants to see that creativity come to the forefront. So it's neat to see that the last things he did over the past 5 to 6 years was that. It was like allowing folks in the industry that might not have the equity and the size to become, you know, big AAA game devs, but to literally get their ideas onto a system that could actually make sales. And that worked, dude. Like, Shuhei was responsible for so many indie games making it over the PlayStation 4 to PlayStation 5 lifetime. So all I'm going to say is that I get it, right? I think this is actually good news in the same way that it's horrible news. The industry has been going down a dark path of money wasting. Just absolutely borderline abusive money wasting, where it's shocking to think that quite literally we're going to roll back billions of dollars of investment into shit that was just a ridiculously bad call. It's more of a sign that things like games like Astro can exist and they can find success and maybe not need to sell 1 billion units or turn it into a games as a service or some shit, or we can just have people's ideas get a relatively good budget, just get $100 million, which is now a completely meager budget. It doesn't seem like it is, but yes, now that's a meager budget for like a decently sized game to just execute their ideas and make it happen, dude. I think creativity and unique ideas are going to be the thing that always carries this industry. And games like Balatro are kind of that example. And to be real, something like Astro is kind of the opposite of that, where it is, no shit, an execution of something that has just been missing. It's not exactly super innovative. It relies on nostalgia a whole bunch and offers a platform that doesn't really have platformers. So yeah, there was something that was missing there on Sony consoles, and they filled that gap, and bam, look at it, it's freaking amazing. It's frustrating. I think we were saying this earlier, that we would be dealing with the fallout of the Jim Ryan era of PlayStation for years to come, and we're not even there yet, man. We're still going through it. This was probably one of the biggest, like, dagger to the hearts of what that initiative was, to know that all of this talent, all of these resources, like, absolutely wasted and put into something that will eventually go nowhere and now is literally being canceled. It's a huge bummer, but maybe a wake-up call to a direction that will be good for the future of the PlayStation brand or future PlayStation games.